Joining me now to talk more about the situation on the Korean Peninsula is Jim Walsh. He's an international security expert and research associate with the Security Studies program at MIT. Jim, thanks for joining us. And we just heard you in the piece a few moments ago at that conference in Colorado that you don't think anything will slow down until April 15th, Kim Il-sung's birthday. So should we assume that we'll see something by then?
I think so. I wouldn't bet the house on it. But my guess is North Korea moved those two missiles over to the East Coast with an intention of firing them in a missile test as part of the birthday celebrations. Now, North Korea has moved missiles around and not fired them, so it's not 100% likely. But I think there's a pretty good chance, and I expect something to happen. I mean, we've had something happen, every day. 21 days or something in a row. So I expect we still have a little bit more left.
Well, Secretary of State John Kerry is now making his way to Beijing, and he downplayed reports from yesterday about the DPRK's nuclear weapon capability. What did you think about all of that, and what do you think the possibility is that they have something that will actually work?
Yeah, I think that was an unfortunate part of the news cycle the last 24 hours. Essentially, and this is hard to summarize in 20 seconds, but the U.S. has 16 different intelligence agencies. The State Department has one, the Defense Department has one, there's the CIA, blah, 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 blah. There's one paragraph in one report by the Department of Defense's intelligence wing that said that North Korea might have a missile capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, but that missile would have very low reliance. It's not a missile that would work. It's not a missile you would trust. And then the press grabbed that because it happened in a legislative hearing on Capitol Hill. And then the Defense Department stepped out and said, no, you all are misinterpreting what that means, and said, no, North Korea does not have a missile today that is a militarily reliable missile like you would see in any other nuclear weapon state. So I think that was overblown. If you ask me, the big news of the last 48 hours is that China is pulling back on tourism to North Korea and South Korea, but especially to North Korea. It's shutting off tourism to North Korea, and that seems to me an unexpected but strong signal from the Chinese government.
A little bit of time left. It seems South Korea is now open to talks after Kerry's visit there. Do you think with that visit, the collective efforts between the U.S., the ROK, and China, do you think the DPRK will listen and maybe come to the table soon?
Well, one would hope so, but it depends on what, if you're trying to cure a disease, so much depends on the diagnosis. Why is North Korea acting this way? If North Korea is acting this way because it wants to bargain with other countries, then yes, it'll come back to the table. But if it's acting this way for internal domestic reasons, having nothing to do with the outside world, then it's going to continue to act this way until it resolves its internal problems. So an offer of dialogue, I think, would be welcome. I would welcome a resumption of the six-party talks or bilateral negotiations. But this might be an internal problem, in which case it may continue.
All right, Jim Walsh, as always, we appreciate your time and your insight.